We have a couple of presentations to make. The first one is a special presentation for Fire Chief Gaylor. Chief, would you join me at the podium? And Mayor Botta, would you come with us? You get to help with this one. One person taller than. This is Chief Gaylor. This is Junior Mayor Miller Botta. Thank you. And I'll let you hold this until we get to the chief, okay? Sound good? Chief, I know some of your brothers are here from the fire department, and there's really, personally, nothing I can say that is greater than I miss your leadership and I miss your friendship. You have served and protected our city and our families and my family with great dignity and diligence for all these decades. We're thankful for your service. We are also thankful that you get to enjoy some well-earned retirement, even though you're young enough to still enjoy it. And so this is the official proclamation. Whereas Chief Bobby Gaylor has faithfully served Cleveland for 29 years, beginning in November of 1992, starting your career as a firefighter, promoted to driver, engineer, lieutenant, captain, battalion chief, and then being promoted to fire chief August of 2021. And whereas Chief Gaylor has dedicated himself to service to the Cleveland Fire Department, and under your leadership, the department has improved the ISO 2x2x ratings, placing the department in the top 6% of all departments in the nation. Whereas you're now choosing to retire at your very young age on May 31, 2023, after serving the City of Cleveland Fire Department for 29 years. Now therefore, the Cleveland City Council, on behalf of all of us, proclaim today, May 22nd, 2023, as Chief Bobby Gaylor Day all across our city, and we ask all citizens to join with us in wishing you a happy and healthy retirement. And Mayor Botta, in sincere appreciation to your dedication for 29 years of loyal service, City of Cleveland best wishes on your retirement. Congratulations, Chief. We're incredibly proud of you. Mayor, did you want to shake his hand? Awesome. Chief, you have more than earned a few moments of whatever you would like to say.
I'd just like to say that I've had a wonderful career. Looking back, I wouldn't change a thing. I've enjoyed working with all of y'all, especially the men and women of Cleveland Fire Department. One of the best departments in the state. That being said, I'm looking forward to this next chapter, seeing what it opens for. Thank you.
Let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen of the fire department, you guys come up for a picture with Chief. Anybody? How do we do it this way? We'll line up this way. Yeah.
I'm here. I'll shake the mayor's hand.
He's doing a great job. We'll take it down here. We'll tag it. You stand over here on this side. How do you want us, Tim? You're Republican, we're just right.
Yeah, we need to do a second row.
Don't say it, don't say short people. Thank you, Chief. Thank you. Thank you.
That's it. All them shoulders.
Yeah. Come up, me, Doug? All right. Our second proclamation, we will actually be sending over to the Bradley Sunrise Rotary. It is in recognition of the Bradley Sunrise Rotary Exchange student, Lyris Maria Carolina Judah. She is joining us from Finland, and this will be presented to her at the Thursday Rotary meeting, and we are thankful that she was able to be with us here in Cleveland this summer. Those are the only special presentations and public comments that are recorded. Are there any members of the audience who are here today that would like to speak here under the public comment section prior to the beginning of the agenda? If you'll please signify.
I'm not sure, Mayor, if this is the appropriate time. I was invited to attend. My name is Ed Deming, a resident of Cleveland, and I spend a great deal of my time on the Greenway. We love the Greenway. Me and my dog. I'm here really on behalf of the dog owners that utilize the Tinsley Dog Park. And I'll be real quick with this, but I'm just here to say the conditions of that park are deplorable. No basic maintenance is being performed on the park. We've tried calling attention to it. Something as simple as providing dog baggies to pick up after our dog. Have not had any for several months now. I could go on and on about other conditions. After a rain, it's a mudslide in there. There desperately needs to be some bark put down in the designated areas that used to be there. A lot of other things, but it's just some basic, somebody needs to be there once a week at a minimum to spend no time. We're not talking about a money issue here at all. Just a staff person to go in occasionally and service the dog park. And there's a lot of dog owners that use that park, hundreds. And it's a good dog park, potentially, but it's just gone downhill. And if you could do this some attention, we would certainly appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Deming. Duly noted. Any other comments or questions from the audience at this time? All right. We will move on to item number 2 on the agenda. That is our city manager's report. Mr. Fivas, you're recognized.
Thank you. We do appreciate the comments. Our Parks and Recreation Director knows she isn't able to be here today, but certainly we'll look into that. I want to take a moment and don't have many things to really go over. We do have some pictures and some things going around town. Probably the one thing is that one of the pictures we have is the LIC North project, and that's the connection to Pleasant Grove. Is that it's been paved now. Probably the last thing that has to happen is having striping on that done, and we'll probably be close. As we talked about, Robert Barnell did a great job in securing, is that a done deal, $400,000?
We've got to do a change order first to show the money,
Yeah, so to get additional $400,000 for that project, and then there's going to be a gap, and looking at the contract signed by the county and the city, is that would contemplate on whatever that gap is that the county and the city will make up that difference. We have not, I mentioned that there's going to be a gap to county mayor, but we'll once we get a number that we can communicate with them, probably around a couple $100,000, and we'll let people know and the council know as we get closer to that. A couple things with the budget. We're able to amend the budget that everyone on January or July 1st will receive a 5% increase. In front of you, you have a new budget message that will be adopting that language in there. That before it was supposed to 1.5% was supposed to take effect in One other thing we added is that there are some people that are topped out in their department, they have longtime employees, is that the additional 1.5% merit increase will be applied to even those people that are topped out. So even the people that are topped out will get some additional compensation. So that's a good thing. All employees have their minimum and maximum salaries. Although, you know, that's not salary increases, but the minimums and maximum way our system works is that for some people that will affect their, as we had talked about before, we're able to raise up our lowest amounts for, if you're a full-time employee, up over $15 an hour. Before they were about 13. We think this is a major accomplishment to be able to give better wages to our full-time employees. We are in the process of having to work with the county on a new 911 agreement. Mr. Benton is here somewhere, and we'll be working with him and 911 to figure out the exact terms on that. And we have personnel manual updates that will probably come as soon as the next meeting. Working on many of those adopted changes. Moving on to fire department. We have ordered the new fire engine for the fire department with $950,000. As we discussed at the last meeting in depth, we are still waiting for the last fire engine that we ordered, which was the ladder truck. Should be here hopefully before January. The new truck that we just ordered hopefully will be here around July 1st of 2026. And between now and 2026, we'll have to do some work on how to fund that. There was an increased pay for firefighter certification for advanced EMTs and paramedics. And we're also replacing the garage doors on Station 1. I think we talked about that at the last meeting. The police, we have 12-hour shifts that have started. And those 12-hour shifts have been going pretty well, Chief, as far as what I've heard. People have bought into them.
Well, yeah, it's going very well. Having more people, couplers for having to take short stuff, so it's went real well.
Mark has a couple of exciting things to announce, is that the SROs, there's a new initiative at the state level that they're going to give us compensation for our SROs. That compensation will also help the schools, because the schools pay for 50% of our SROs, and we have some savings off that. Mark was in Nashville, I think, a couple times talking about a lot of things. Then we have a grant award. We have a $500,000 grant, a $1.5 million grant to help with a number of initiatives, and we talked about many of those. We've been officially awarded those. Is that appropriate to announce? So it's plus the 500.
Plus the 500.
Yeah, so it's 2.1.
Yeah.
So it's about $2.1 million that we'll be working through, and so I think those are fantastic opportunities for the police department to be able to utilize those. Recreation and development in the community continues to be strong. We have started to see some decrease in some of our residential unit building. They're not being built and housed as nearly as fast as what they were for the last several years for obvious reasons. But we still see the subdivisions that have been constructed and built are still building new houses and working through that. Let's talk about the census for a moment. That the census, we in the last week or so received our census information, and our new census data is 48,557. We think that this is low, and that there's some issues that we need to contact some people at the state Census Bureau, is that, if you recall, when we did the main census, they forgot many of our annexed areas. And we're still waiting for those. We call every few weeks. I think you were there the last time we called. It's about 1,500, 1,700 new additional residents that haven't been counted in the U.S. Census. It's in track, and we're still working on that. The data that we received shows that we are only 54, the city only accounted for 54% of the growth in Bradley County. Bradley County had 847 total new residents, and the city had about 54% of that. And we think that there's something that's off with that. Just looking at housing permits and building permits, and a lot of those could be pushed.
Yeah. 2010 to 2020?
No, this is from 20 to 23.
Okay.
Yeah, so, well, actually, the 874 was from July 1 of 2021 to July 1st, 2022. So that was 21 to 22, and we just got those results back. So they said during that time, there were 847, and only 54% of those were city residents. We think there's a calculation error in there, because that should be more like 75 or 80% on the number of building permits being issued in the city or in the county and here. We don't know all the answers, but also by looking at like Athens and Chattanooga, their populations grew at a 1.6% during the same timeline. Ours only grew by 0.9. So we think that there's something that needs to be studied. Now, Councilman May, I think, has asked me this question a few times, and finally dug up the answer is, well, what does it mean? What does it mean to the city when the census is off? And for every resident that it's off, it means about $170, and that counts through a number of different entities in the state, and basically. The $170 is combined with state sales tax, state beer tax. These are all distributed on a per capita basis on how many people you have. Special petroleum products tax, gross receipts tax, sports betting, which is only $1, and state street aid, and that equals $170. So if you take this time that we've been waiting for the U.S. Census Bureau to fix the 1,500 error or mistake that they had, every year we're losing about $255,000, and in the 3 years, since they haven't fixed it yet, it's, well, if it was 3 years, it should be $300,000 or $765,000 for 20, 21, and 22. So, we're concerned about that.
Joe, is that just lost? We can't go back and get it?
We don't know yet.
Yeah.
We think because it was their error that we need to petition the state and these agencies for this lost revenue. And we just found this last week, so we haven't done any due diligence. In the future, we think that the actual census was probably 2,000 to 3,000 people off, not even counting their errors. They didn't send anyone door to door. We think that there were some undercounts, a lot of different issues. And it was in the middle of COVID, and there were some good reasons for that. There are options in the future of doing your own special census. I believe that we've done that before. Sometimes when you have a lot of annexation and a lot of growth, it's to your benefit. But with these types of numbers, if you're off by a couple thousand people, you're talking about $300,000 in annual revenue. No reason to make any decisions, just making you aware that that at some point, 24, maybe 25, that we'll have to consider doing our own special census and do a count, and that will count. So, any questions on any of that? I went through that fairly quickly.
Maybe we should withhold the money from the federal government if it's their mistake. When they send us a bill for $765,000, we can just withhold payment. Pending their fixing their mis-
Why do we wait till 24 or 25 to start doing a count?
Well, because first of all, we want to get just their rudimentary process fixed. And then we also have a lot of these neighborhoods that are still building. You want to catch it at the apex and capture as many homes as you can. But certainly, if it looks like it's slowing to the degree that it is, then to your point, you might as well just do it because you're not capturing substantial extra growth in that time.
I don't know the cost. I mean, I've heard different numbers thrown around. If the cost is $50,000, then you probably want to do it every year if you're having growth, because it pays for itself annually.
Many cities in Metro Nashville are starting to do that.
Well, I mean, that'd be easy numbers to run and see when is best to start that process.
Yeah. So
And if you're talking $250,000 a year,
Yeah.
it's certainly ROI.
Yeah. Well, that number is just on the stuff that we know in
Right.
advance.
Right.
And we should go and petition to see if we can recover that because it was their error.
But Joe, most of that money that you're talking about is collected someplace else and then we get it back.
That's right.
Yeah, so they've got it. Yeah.
Joe, what was that number, 47,000 something or 48,000?
48,557.
48,557, and I'm happy to send the information about it.
If we did this and got more accurate counts, does Bradley County use that data for their counts?
They would be a recipient probably of increased there. I'm not sure on how they receive the state share, and I can look and see what the county's state share looks like. A lot of ours is the sales tax, which they won't get, so there's probably some of the street funding and some of that, they would probably, to answer your question, they would benefit, yes.
So maybe we ask them if they want to pay for part of it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Or
and the percentage would be whatever.
It's going to help them more, yeah.
Whatever percentage that would help them.
I mean, that's a no-brainer.
Just kind of a example. There's about 23,000 residential electric meters in the city. That's just a little over 2.1 persons per unit. That may be a little low.
Yeah, it's usually about 2.5.
Yeah, it would be.
And
So then you're talking millions annually.
Millions, yeah.
I'm not going to make that
I
statement.
know.
But it.
Ken just did.
Well,
We will do some more information. We just received this last week on Thursday, I believe, and we'll bring back some additional information to help with decision making on what to do.
2.5 would mean a population of 57,000.
We think it's probably, by looking at just the accounts and the solid waste, we think it's around 53. So,
If we were wrong, they would call us every day.
That's true.
moving on to less exciting, or more exciting issues. This last week we had, yesterday on Sunday, we had First Baptist come and help us do a lot of the finishing touches at Mosby Park. They painted our entire fence black, and it was Judge Sharp's, Mike Sharp's prayer group that was there, and we appreciated that, but we should probably have them in to thank them. What they do in a matter of a few hours really saves about us about a week and a half worth of work of going out and doing a lot of this stuff. But they put in, as you can see, they did all the landscaping, and it looks absolutely fantastic. I think if you haven't been out there, that park is really coming together. Our tentative date for having the ribbon cutting, or the re-grand opening, and this is subject to making sure that we can invite the Mosby family and they can be there, is probably June 26th, which is the second, fourth Monday in June. That is a hold the date, that is not a firm date, because we want to make sure people can be, the appropriate people can attend and invited. We do have, I think, probably a couple weeks worth of just doing some other small, minor details. Trying to get that cleaned up. The pool, they are also working on the pool this weekend, and Mosby Pool will open up for customers on Saturday. They usually open up right before Memorial Day, so we think that the park exceeded our expectations. It's truly a showcase, and we appreciate the council's support in doing that, and we're hoping to share that with you in June as we run into some other issues. I was out at the soccer complex this weekend, and it's just unbelievable. You go out there, and this is just actually a crop shot. It was actually a wide view, and I don't know what happened with my phone, but there were hundreds and thousands of, almost 1,000 people out there. It's just, if you haven't had the chance to go out there, it's just a lot of action going on, a lot of families, and it's a joy to be out there enjoying that with them. Candy's Greenway. This is a really bad picture. It was a little wet after the rain on Saturday, so I didn't want to get a better shot down there. The Greenway is completed from Candy's Lane all the way back to the bridge that we have worked with the Greenway Board to restore. I don't know what's going on with my camera. This is a picture of, if you can imagine what this is supposed to look like. The other part, which is from I-75 back to the other side of the bridge, is about halfway done. We have it cut through there. It is, the 3 times I've been out there, I've seen deer. It's by far the prettiest section of Greenway that we have, hands down. We're making good progress. And we have decided on this because the Greenway Board and our city staff have gone back and forth a number of times. Pavement, concrete. Some of the runners want pavement. We think that because looking at where it actually lies, that it's going to be underwater for significant portions of time at some point, is to go with concrete. It's much more durable, you won't have the erosion, and it won't fall off, and it won't get wavy like that. So we've decided it's going to take us a little bit longer to figure that out, but that's what we've decided out there. This is a beautiful picture, if you can see the rest of it. I'm almost ready to pull my phone out and show the rest of it. And that's looking that way of the picture. You go that way, that's looking right under I-75. At some point, we'll punch it through there and get over to Fletcher Park and enjoy all that.
Talk about that.
We do have it staked, and I believe Tommy has it on his list to do the connection from Candy's Lane to the nature walk.
Yeah, hopefully we'll start this week.
Yep. So that has been an issue that I know that our friends down on Rolling Hills Drive have asked for. I think that one of our contributors to this project, I think, I'm not going to say the name, but has contributed money to that. He's asked that that's an important thing to him, so we're trying to make those connections, that you can literally go walk on that loop, get on the and walk all the way I-75. And it's 2.5 miles, I think. So it's a nice section of the Green Line.
Joe, before you leave that, can you just, can I say that maybe the city staff to put in the back of their minds to be attentive for grants, because it's, the most expensive part is gonna be a bridge across Candies. That's a very, to get it to Fletcher. And so we need to find any funding source at all to get across Candies to get it to Fletcher.
The transportation alternative grants pay for that?
Yeah, but there's gotta be others too, because, sometimes we get in that cycle, waiting here.
You want to get it done this decade?
No, well, yes. We've had other grants as well, other than the states.
We will.
Just keep an eye out. That's all I'm asking is for city staff, because that is the expensive linchpin. It's that, and then also getting the Starbucks, this phase 6 done, are just two massive keys, I think, that will tie a bow on these 20 years, right? Yeah, it would tie a bow on it.
Bill brought it up. What about south of Willis Street?
I was just going to say that. We had a conversation, half good, half bad conversation with the state on our TA grants last week. The good is that we're getting very strong recommendations to fund that at a very high level. I think it's almost 2 million, somewhere in there.
1.5.
1.5, to do that last section, and then we'll have the funding. We already have the design pretty much completed, right? So the difference is now that you have an official design is that we can buy a couple of the properties that we need or acquire them, and then we're into construction. So
Is NEPA done?
The NEPA's done.
Yeah,
Okay.
and design.
And design.
So we're going to be doing right away.
Right away will be next.
One-
We don't need much.
Right now, our issue is just making sure we have the construction funding. We think the state's going to announce that in the next 30 days,
Ooh,
give or take.
that'd be good.
A year.
No,
But,
we won't.
but that's somewhat of the timeline, so that's good.
Yeah.
We will probably have to reapply for our funds on 25th Street sidewalk. We have that one in a similar condition. We're ready to go to right away, and they will probably say, we're gonna take that money and put it somewhere else in the state, and then we have to reply. Probably not as urgent to get that one done. On Gott Street, they made us very concerned by throwing that into that, is that they have the information. They have and we had to get some signatures, but we've told them that Gott Street needs to go before July 1st, and once we hear if that's going to happen, we'll make sure that you guys are aware of how that's going. But it was surprising, since we've had our stuff turned in for 6 months or so on that. Any questions on that?
Thanks.
Hangar development out at the Jetport, we have 2 or 3 different hangars going up. A lot of activity out there. This is a picture, and something's wrong with the phone, and you obviously tip of my finger, that this is on McGrady's Avenue, and this is the new Aldi location, which kind of sits across the street from Food City. Carrying Place is under construction. Go Anywhere Blythe Oldfield, and this is just one of the many that they're putting up infill houses as fast as you can go. Some decent product that's being built in the Blythe Oldfield area. These are a picture of the apartments that are probably in the last 6 months of construction and then people have moved into some of them. Across from Avery Johnson's home on off of Highway 60. It's a great product. These pictures are missing parts of them. I'm not sure why they got cut off. This is the liquor distributor out on, out by the industrial park. It sits right next to there. They're under construction. You have Domino's Pizza on Wildwood. This is the old Sonic that's being rehabbed and redone. Then you have, in the back there, you have a brand new 100,000 square foot industrial spec building that is done, and I know that Doug is following and close on a few times on the leads on coming up with that building. The Veterans Home, have you gotten any word on when they're gonna open it up, Kevin?
She just announced at Rotary on Tuesday that they plan to open up this summer. It is pending.
Yes, and it's just like a lot of things, it's probably 18 months after when they thought.
She did, correct, and she did indicate that it's going to be a slow, small number of veterans incrementally, that it won't be open 108 the first day, so that they can staff up and get their systems in order, but.
LIC North paving, so you see the new Pleasant Grove, you see that they're still need to put some lines. We think it's extremely wide, and we're not sure why the state wanted to build it like that. Habitat for Humanity, this is back over on Foster Lane. Habitat for Humanity, which the city contributed $400,000, and CDBG also contributed funds for helping homeowners assistance and stuff like that. Those products are going in. I don't remember what that is. Food City, across from the Dollar General on Highway 60. This is the location for the new Food City. They have turned in and have been approved. It's going to be quite the store out in that direction. Highway 60, you see the development along there. That's the best I could do by driving by. Too much traffic. Free Will neighborhood is under construction. Courtyard by Marriott. Hotel number 2, that is going right next to the courtyard. And hotel number 3, which the Planning Commission approved the site plan last week, which is the one across from Chick-fil-A. There's a new construction site of just an absolutely beautiful building behind McAllister's on that piece of property. They're under construction. And we're also, this is a better, if you actually got to see the picture, instead of the orange barrel, that this is the sidewalk on Atkinson. We're actually laying sidewalk on Atkinson. We'll go all the way down from here, all the way down to Paul Huff Parkway. The first section is just to get in front of the school, but we've officially started that project and moving. The Housing Authority is, they're rehabbing every unit that they have, spending I think $50 million. This is an example that they have, each unit will be shut down, and driving by, they look fantastic, and they're in that process. Mouse Creek intersection, picture doesn't do it justice. Give a lot of credit to our staff and people that getting that the gas company's out working on the gas line. What our holdup right now is that there's 2 mast arm poles that go in. One is drilled, this one on this side is drilled, and then we're talking 30 feet down, all concrete. And then they went to the other one, which is in front of Cheddar's, and they broke their auger bit, and they're waiting for the auger bit to come in, so then they can finish putting in that. So then that's when the mast arms will go up, and we'll have the road ready to go. And we would like to get this done probably sometime, probably early fall, and get everything paved and done.
Are the mass storms here?
Yes, yes. Bells Creek intersection, and those are the things around Cleveland. Couple things. Any questions on any of that? We did get some news that we've confirmed that our health benefits are going to stay the same this year, and with a 0% increase. And I think that's a fantastic indicator in this market. Our utilization, some of the special things that we've done have lowered prices. This prescriptions drug medicine is that our fund balance for we're self-insured for insurance, many of you know that. But we've got our fund balance to the point that we feel comfortable, that you get that couple $500,000 hits on different tragic incidents can wipe that out pretty quick, and we think we're in a good place with that. And if there are no questions, I can go and talk a little bit about the agenda. 3 o'clock agenda, we have the public comments on the budget. We're going to hear comments to change the ownership interest in I-75 Wine and Spirits. The store, I don't believe, is moving at all. It's just the ownership. Item on the consent agenda, we have the final passage of zoning ordinance 2311, which is to zone 10 more acres less on Benton Pike and heavy industrial. And we have the final passage of zoning ordinance 23-12. And that's, and a lot of these things from there to H are budget related. You have a couple things. I redid the memo, which restates that we're given the 5%, and I'm approving that. The 5% on July 1st, and also the people that are topped out, they also get the benefit of the 1.5. For the hotel motel tax, we've gotten rid of some of the litter pickup and added some additional funding for marketing, for community marketing in that. And we have redo a resolution that we've done before, just to make sure, because we added the 1% in to change the minimums and the maximums. So we would want to add this to the business agenda, and you have a copy in front of you. It's virtually identical to what you guys have already approved, just given the paperwork. And then, and I meant to mention this as I was going on, is that we're able to move our equipment operators and our truck drivers up to the $20 an hour, past that threshold in there, so we have an authorized employees list that will help us do that as well. So, any questions on that? Have a couple other items. We have the certificate of compliance for on-your beverages. Chief Gibson is working through the trade-ins on the future weapons for the Cleveland. This is attached to what we discussed, I think, a couple meetings ago, that we're trading out all their weapons and they're doing swap with ammunition and those things. Item K, which is resolution 23-44, designated the city of Cleveland as a B city. This is just to apply for that. I think there's a $300 fee for that. Resolution 23-45 is authorizing the application for a historic development grant. This would be It's not a tax credit, but it's a historic development grant that we can apply for the Cherokee Hotel. Sand Mill got one of these for $300,000. I believe Mr. Berry on the Phil Hour got some as well. We like our chances for this, for the commercial uses in the building. So this will give us permission to begin applying for that. Our architect will do the majority of the work. Authorized application for an urban community forestry inflation grant. This is a weird thing that kind of came out of nowhere. Is they, through some of the stuff at the federal level, they gave a bunch of money to forestry projects. So this allows us to purchase equipment for forestry, trees, different things, and we'll take a shot at applying for. We don't know how competitive it will be, but certainly we have some equipment needs in the area. And letter N, resolution 2347, authorizing the application for the Tennessee Agricultural Enhancement Program for the community tree planting grant. We will apply for this as we are doing our plan for in Tinsley Park and doing the parking lot and the pickleball, is that we'll have some need for planting within the parking lot area. It's about 30 trees, and this will help pay for that. And then on the business, we'll have amending the fiscal year 23 budget, and then that resolution that we were talking about. Any questions on the agenda?
Any questions from the council? Thank you, Mr. Fivas. Grateful for the city manager's report and the review of the 3 o'clock agenda. Takes us to reports to the council members. We begin today with Councilman Cassada.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. Joe, you mentioned 9/11 as far as helping them out with the county. I hope that the city of Cleveland will take the lead. We normally do to help them out. My understanding, they have had an increase in 7 years, and they're really struggling. For our first responders, anybody calling 911, we'll make sure we get the resources out there. I think it's on both parties. We need to move on that and help them out as much as possible on that part. I appreciate it. Mouse Creek also, you mentioned that. It looks good, Joe. The right-hand turn lane. I go out to the soccer fields. My grandson plays out there, and there are a ton of people out there. Believe me, there are. Probably need more parking out there sometimes because they're parking on the side of the road and grass and everything else. But beside that point, one thing, Harbor Freight turning in the entrance and everything. Y'all done all that cosmetic. It looks really good. I still have people going towards Mouse Creek turning left into Harbor Freight on that. You know, they're supposed to not turn that way, but they're still, and it causes problems. Is there any way to get something in that media, like a yellow poles to deter people from doing that, or
I'm trying to think of it. They have a name, like flappers or something. I can't remember those. Delineators.
Yeah, delineators.
Our intention is to put some delineators up.
Okay.
That will make it more clear that a left-hand turn isn't.
Yeah. It doesn't have a sign in it, turn in. It's not an entrance like it does at Outback, I guess it is. But I didn't know if we could put something in the media there in the turn lane to deter them from turning there, because a lot of people do that.
Yeah, well, we've been really surprised that the delineators that we have at Benmore Drive have held up very well.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, something like that.
So we have a good track record.
The same thing is happening going in the opposite direction in Publix across the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though it goes down, they go down and they'll turn, U-turn right there too, so it's just on that part. Kenny's Lane also, I appreciate everything, city, Tommy, y'all, what y'all done in Kenny's Lane. I see more people walking down Kenny's Lane and going to the Greenway Park. It's just, and a lot of people, out there in my district say, well, why do you put a sidewalk? But now they come to me and say, we understand. There's more people using that sidewalk going down to Kenny's Lane and Greenway and coming back through that way. But, Tommy, could I ask you, maybe, there's some weeds in the, on Kenny's Lane, the new sidewalk that are growing up. Can we spray those possibly on that part? Because there's more people using it. Yes.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, take it away from there, is that Dan and myself, we, they're spraying the entire city right now.
Okay.
And we have a new regimen that we're gonna be doing on that.
Okay.
So every 3 weeks, we're gonna spray the entire city on those sidewalks, and then come back the next week, and then weed the dead weeds out of there.
Okay.
Is that we need to do a better job of training those. There are some areas, including, I think they're out doing 25th Street today.
Good.
That's an area of improvement that we all agree will be important for us to do that.
I'm
So-
sure there's not
And
Kenny's.
I was out at Candy's and I saw those weeds and
Yeah.
it just killed me.
Yeah, so I appreciate along the city and Kenny's too, on taking care of that. Mayor, that's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman May.
Yeah, Joe, you're talking about spraying the whole city. I'm assuming that'll be downtown, around the trees and,
Yes. And when I say the whole city, our main corridors in downtown.
okay. Inman, Broad,
Oh, yeah, all of downtown.
Ocoee.
Yeah,
Okay.
all of the downtown district. And lots of that is because we have the new summer series coming up, starting in June. So we'll want to have everything cleaned up and spruced up by then.
Okay, that's all I've got.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Hughes will be with us at the 3 o'clock. Councilman Webb, you're recognized.
Nothing at this time, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Vice Mayor Johnson.
Yeah, Joe, Martin Drive, can you give me an update on that? We're still getting calls about it.
Yeah. We talked about that. That's literally, I could throw a rock and almost hit it from my house, and I didn't realize it was around there. Is we're looking for what's the best, there's a section of the road that isn't in the city.
Okay.
And we're looking for how to handle that, but it's pretty high priority for us to figure that out. So we haven't forgot about it, it's just, it's a question, usually if it's a county road, we usually don't put lights on county roads, and just the way that this is put together, but we're working on a solution.
Okay, good. That's all I got this evening.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman McKenzie. Thank you, madam. And Councilman Estes.
Yeah, speaking of the soccer fields and all, June concert series was awesome. So my colleagues come down on Saturday nights or Friday nights?
Friday.
Friday nights in June.
We'll have Jimmy Buffett.
Yep, actually, Jimmy Buffett.
Every Friday night. He'll be there every Friday night.
When you get that last
And then also with Dan and just on the southeast corner of Broad and Central, there's just a, I don't know what you call them, they're not planters, but it's just a big open spot for a tree that's not there. You know, you have trees planted in front of, and it's right across from Broad Street, United Methodist, there on the corner, the southeast corner. And it's just empty, and it's been there empty for a couple of years, and it'd be easy to throw a tree in, I think, the right kind of tree in the fall.
Okay. That's easy.
That's all, man.
Thanks, Councilman, and I'm going to take a quick minute just to thank Tommy. I can't tell you how many compliments I've gotten, although I deserve none of it, on Blythe Ferry Road and Old Tasso Road. You seem to have just made the entire, that quadrant of our city happy. They compliment the quality of the paving. It's just
want your team to know how much we appreciate that.
See, if you don't do it for 3 years, they don't pay attention. And by the way, the delay, and this isn't, it wasn't us, it was that we were waiting for timing for a sewer project that was going through there.
Well, it just seems to be just incredibly positive. I just want to say thank you to Jonathan Joe and Corey Dybel, their positive comments. When city staff can resolve an issue while attending a funeral of a friend, I just got to tell you, when I get reports like that it's not on city time, it's not on company time, but you all are working diligently around the clock. And when I get a report like that, anecdotally, yeah, they were here and I saw them and they talked to me, and I just want to say thank you. And then to my phone a friend, Robert Varnell, I started counting up the text messages and the calls, and I just wanted to thank you because it doesn't go unnoticed that your phone unfortunately gets disturbed at all hours. And then that leads me to the Michigan Avenue meeting that we had one evening last week, and how heavily attended by not just city staff after hours. It was a 5 o'clock till 7, I think. But the audience, the residents of the area of Michigan Avenue just turned out in numbers I had not seen in a long time. Very active, lots of magic marker notes, lots of Post-it notes all over the maps. And it really was sort of a very positive evening, and I just wanted to take a few minutes today.
Some very good suggestions.
Yeah, incredibly good suggestions. And our staff performed at such an admirable level of receiving those suggestions. And folks, it really does make a difference when people who elect us to serve understand that we are listening to their concerns. And so I just want to take a moment to say thank you. It looks like we are just at the 2 o'clock hour. We have no announcements, and Mayor, if you don't mind, we can adjourn until 3 o'clock if you hit that gavel. We are adjourned.